I love rainy days. The sound of the rain tapping against the window is like a soothing melody that makes everything feel calm and peaceful. I love to be indoors, wrapped in a warm blanket, with a cup of hot chocolate in my hands. The rain outside makes the indoors feel even cozier. When it rains, I climb the stairs to the attic. It's like my own little adventure, each step taking me closer to a world of forgotten treasures. The attic is my favorite place. It's a magical space where time seems to stand still, filled with memories and secrets waiting to be discovered. It's full of old furniture and boxes. Each item has a story, a past life that I can only imagine. I love to explore and create my own stories about them.
One rainy afternoon, Oliver climbed the stairs to the attic. The wooden steps creaked under his feet, adding to the sense of mystery and excitement. He had a flashlight to see. The attic was dimly lit, and the beam of light cut through the shadows, revealing hidden corners and forgotten treasures. He opened an old chest. The hinges squeaked as the lid lifted, and the cloud of dust rose into the air, making him sneeze. It was full of clothes and hats. Each piece seemed to whisper stories of the past, of people who had worn them long ago.
Wow, look at this big feathery hat. It's so extravagant and fun. I wonder who used to wear it. I can make it into a pirate hat. Arr, matey. I can almost hear the waves and feel the sea breeze.
Oliver laughed in the attic, wearing the feathery hat, surrounded by old chests and furniture, a flashlight in one hand. His imagination was running wild. He dug deeper into the chest and found something at the bottom. His fingers brushed against something hard and smooth. It was a small, leather-bound book. The cover was worn and the pages were yellowed with age. He blew off the dust and opened it carefully. He gasped. The pages were filled with intricate drawings and mysterious symbols.
It's a map! A real treasure map, just like in the stories. My heart is beating so fast. This could lead to an amazing adventure. This is no ordinary map. It has drawings of trees with faces and sparkling rivers. It's like a map to a magical land. Could this be a treasure map? I'm determined to find out. I can't wait to see where it leads me. I need to study this map. It might hold the key to an incredible adventure, something beyond my wildest dreams. It shows a winding path through a forest. The path twists and turns, leading to places unknown. The forest looks strange and exciting. The trees seem to whisper secrets, and the air feels magical. There are symbols and riddles on the map. Each symbol looks like it holds a clue, a piece of the puzzle waiting to be solved.
Oliver traced the lines with his finger, feeling the texture of the paper and the weight of the journey ahead. The map felt old and special. It was as if it had been passed down through generations, holding stories of past adventurers. It smelled like adventures in faraway lands. The scent carried the essence of mystery and excitement. He held it close and imagined himself following the map's path. Each step would bring him closer to the unknown. He dreamed of finding a hidden treasure. The thought of discovering something precious filled him with joy.
I know what I have to do. This map is my guide, and I must follow it. I have to follow the map. It will lead me to places I've never been before. The thought both scares and excites me. The unknown is daunting, but the thrill of adventure is irresistible. I know it won't be easy, but I am brave. I have the courage to face whatever comes my way. I am ready for an adventure. With my backpack and map, I feel prepared for anything.
Oliver carefully folded the map, making sure not to crease it too much, and put it in his pocket. He wanted to keep it safe and close to him. He knew he couldn't tell anyone about his plan. This adventure was his alone to embark on. It was his secret adventure. The thrill of having a secret made it even more exciting. He would be like a brave explorer, ready to face the unknown. With determination in his heart, he set off on his journey. The next morning was bright and sunny. Oliver woke up early. He ate his breakfast quickly. He could barely contain his excitement. He snuck out of the house, the map safely tucked into his pocket.
I need to walk through the village. I will pass by the bakery and the blacksmith's shop. I better wave to Mrs. Peabody, who is tending her garden. I must try not to run. I don't want anyone to ask me where I am going.
Soon, Oliver left the village behind. He entered the woods. The trees were tall and green. Sunlight dappled the forest floor. Oliver felt a thrill of excitement. His adventure had begun.
I am ready to follow the map. I am ready to see where it will lead me.
Oliver followed the path deeper into the woods. The trees grew taller and closer. The sunlight became patchy. The forest felt different now. It felt mysterious and magical, but Oliver wasn't scared. He was too excited.
I need to look around for the landmarks from the map. Oh, there's a tree with a twisted trunk. It looks just like the map. I am on the right track.
He continued walking. The path became narrower and windier. Oliver had to push aside branches and hop over roots. He felt like a real explorer.
What's that strange sound? It's a chattering sound. Could it be a monkey? I've never seen a monkey in these woods before. I need to creep closer and see who is making the noise.
Oliver peeked from behind a tree. He couldn't believe his eyes. It wasn't a monkey, it was a squirrel. But this was no ordinary squirrel. This squirrel was talking.
Chattering away to itself, sorting through a pile of acorns. Looking very busy and important.
Oliver tried not to laugh.
Excuse me, Oliver said politely.
The squirrel jumped, dropping all its acorns. It stared at Oliver with wide, surprised eyes. Oliver smiled.
I'm not going to hurt you, he said.
You can talk? The squirrel squeaked, its tiny nose twitching.
Oliver nodded. Of course I can talk, he said. Can't you?
The squirrel seemed to think about this. It sat up straight.
Well, yes, I can talk, it said proudly. But it's not every day I meet someone who understands me.
Oliver showed Chestnut the map.
Chestnut was a very curious squirrel. He wanted to know all about Oliver's adventure.
Oliver and the squirrel introduced themselves. The squirrel's name was Chestnut.
Chestnut's eyes widened. You're looking for the heart of the forest, he gasped.
Oliver nodded. Have you heard of it? He asked.
Heard of it? Chestnut chuckled. I know exactly where it is, but it's very hard to find. You'll need my help.
Oliver was delighted. He was so lucky to have met Chestnut.
The map says we need to find the whispering tree, Oliver said, pointing to a drawing on the map.
Chestnut nodded. I know just the tree, he said. Follow me.
And so Oliver and Chestnut set off together into the heart of the enchanted forest. Oliver and Chestnut walked for a long time. They followed the map's clues. Chestnut was a great guide. He knew the forest like the back of his paw. They came to a rushing river. The water sparkled in the sunlight. It was very beautiful, but there was no bridge.
Oliver wondered how they would cross.
Chestnut pointed to a row of lily pads. Don't worry, he said. We'll use those.
He took a deep breath and hopped onto the first lily pad. It dipped slightly but held his weight.
Oliver carefully stepped onto a lily pad. It felt wobbly at first, but he soon got the hang of it. He hopped from one lily pad to the next. Chestnut cheered him on.
Soon they were safely on the other side of the river. After crossing the river, the forest grew darker. The trees were so thick they blocked out the sunlight. Oliver felt a shiver run down his spine. They arrived at the foot of a hill. There was a dark opening in the hillside. It looked like a mouth. Oliver felt scared. He didn't like the look of the cave, the look of...
This is it. This is the Cave of Shadows. The heart of the forest is hidden inside.
Chestnut's voice trembled slightly. Oliver took a deep breath. He knew he had to be brave. He had come this far. He wouldn't turn back now. He held out his hand to Chestnut.
Let's do this together.
Chestnut took Oliver's hand. They smiled at each other. They were a team. Together they would face anything. Oliver and Chestnut entered the cave. It was dark and damp inside. Oliver used his flashlight to see. He shone it around the cave walls. They walked deeper into the cave. The air grew colder. Oliver could hear water dripping from the ceiling. He hoped they would find the treasure soon. He didn't like being in the dark cave.
Look.
A chestnut whispered, pointing to a corner of the cave. There was something there. It was glowing. Oliver and Chestnut hurried towards it. As they got closer, the glowing object became clearer. It was a beautiful crystal. It was heart-shaped.
Could this be the heart of the forest?
Oliver and Chestnut stood before the crystal heart. It pulsed with a warm, gentle light. It was the most beautiful thing Oliver had ever seen. Chestnut reached out and touched the crystal.
The legend is true. The heart of the forest protects the forest and all who live here.
Oliver realized something. The real treasure wasn't the crystal heart. The real treasure was the journey he had shared with Chestnut. He had faced his fears. He had made a true friend.
Thank you for being my friend. I couldn't have done it without you.
And thank you for the adventure. It was even more fun than finding a pile of acorns.
Oliver and Chestnut left the cave, their hearts still racing from the excitement of their adventure. The cave had been dark and mysterious, but together they had faced its challenges. They retraced their steps through the forest. the path now familiar and comforting. The dense green foliage seemed to welcome them back, as if the forest itself was a part of their newfound friendship. They laughed and talked about their adventure, recounting every thrilling moment. Each step they took was filled with joy, and the bond they had formed grew stronger with every word. They knew they would be friends forever. The smiles they shared were not just of happiness, but of a deep understanding and connection that only true friends could have. Oliver said goodbye to Chestnut at the edge of the woods. It was a bittersweet moment, but they both knew it wasn't a farewell, just a see you later. He promised to visit him again soon, and Chestnut nodded, knowing that their adventures were far from over. He skipped all the way home, his feet barely touching the ground as he replayed the day's events in his mind. His heart was full of joy, a joy that came from the purest form of friendship and the thrill of adventure. That night, Oliver lay in bed, the day's excitement still buzzing in his veins. He thought about his adventure, every detail vivid in his mind. The cave, the forest, and most importantly, Chestnut. He had learned that courage wasn't about not being scared. It was about facing your fears and pushing through them. It was about facing your fears. And in doing so, he had discovered a strength within himself that he never knew existed. Oliver knew he would never forget his adventure in the Enchanted Forest. It was a memory that would stay with him forever. And he knew that the real treasure was the friendship he had found along the way, a friendship that was more valuable than any hidden gem or ancient artifact. Oliver smiled and closed his eyes, feeling a sense of peace and contentment. He drifted off to sleep, dreaming of magical forests and talking squirrels. His dreams were filled with the promise of more adventures and the joy of discovery. He knew that more adventures awaited him. The world was full of mysteries and wonders, and with Chestnut by his side, he was ready to face them all.